Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and I've seen a lot of debate over whether Quicksilver or Luna Snow is a better tier 3. So I wanted to do a little bit of equal testing in PvE content. So I went ahead and switched Quicksilver's obelisk. I took it off and I gave him a CTP of energy to match Luna Snow. And honestly, now they are extremely closely matched. She's got a legendary uniform. His is mythic. They've got all 5-star and 6-star Uru. Their details page reads almost exactly the same 50-50, 57 crit rate, almost 200% crit damage, and 128 attack speed for Luna. And then over here, we've got 50, 49.4 on the cooldown, capped crit damage, 57 crit rate, and 128 attack speed. The only difference otherwise that you can notice is that he's got 38,000 physical attack and 42,000 HP, whereas she has 35,000 energy attack and 38,000 HP. So she has lower base stats than Quicksilver does for the most part. The only other major thing that I want to notice or take note of before we start this testing is that in terms of PvP, there is no question in my mind that Quicksilver is a better PvP character. With pretty much any equipment, any sort of build you do for him at tier 3, he's going to be better than Luna. Mainly because of two factors, his passive and his passive. This first passive gives him 70% chance to penetrate. That's just amazing for PvP. It's way better. It's more than two perfect CTPs of destruction stacked on top of each other. It's just insane. And then his other passive gives him 50% ignore dodge and 45% guaranteed dodge. That's bonkers. That allows him to hit pretty much everybody, even if they have high dodge, and it also makes him a pain in the ass to hit. So those two factors, literally just his passives, make him an amazing PvP character, whereas Luna Snow's passives are pretty much dog shit for PvP, and that is why she's pretty much only a PvE world boss, ABX, GBR type character. So let's jump into the first comparison. Now for this comparison, we are going to be doing things on equal terms. So in this case, we are using this team specifically because of the fact that Quicksilver, or Luna Snow I should say, needs more ignore dodge than Quicksilver does. Quicksilver, because he has 50%, you can automatically, push him a lot higher against Corvus specifically, but for Luna Snow, she doesn't have as much ignore dodge, so you're going to have to compensate for that with more of a leadership and more of a passive. So that's why I'm using Spider-Man 2099's 50%, even though Quicksilver already has 70-something% guaranteed ignore dodge. So we've got 50% there, and then we've got 20% for Songbird, because Luna Snow only has 40%, so she's going to need both of those, the leadership and the one striker, in order to make that up and land on stage, land 100% ignore dodge on this stage 69. But we're just trying to see how long it's going to take both of them to get down to the first kill, basically, deplete his first 7 bars worth of health. Now, I will say that the advantage right now is probably going to go to Luna Snow based on the way I've set up this comparison. I just lost my 4th skill because of the iframe, but it's okay. We can proc on 2. Honestly, procking on 2 is not bad for Quicksilver. You're not going to be able to hit me, bud, because I got my 6th skill. Oh, yeah, and you know what? We can actually test out. We can make the next test with the SFX on for Quicksilver, to also investigate if that helps him out more, because we have investigated that in a video before, and it turns out it does help him quite a bit. But I think this first test is going to favor Quicksilver, or sorry, it's going to favor Luna Snow instead of Quicksilver, simply because Luna Snow has Charm. The Charm is going to reduce the amount of time that this guy here, Corvus, is going to be able to iframe and sort of block attacks. He hasn't really blocked any of my attacks yet, so I'm not too worried about that, but it is a possibility, and that's why we're only going to go down to the first phase. We're not going to go all the way through to the end of the fight, because he tends to iframe a lot more in the second half of the fight. But there we go. Basically 2.5 minutes. Next test up, we have Luna Snow, and yeah, we're gonna see if the charm is actually doing much. The other thing that Luna Snow does have as an advantage against Quicksilver is the fact that she, wow, Wow, she died. I got a little unlucky there with the snare and sort of getting guard broken, but that is one of the disadvantages of Luna Snow. She's a lot more fragile. She's some of the lowest base stats in the game, very low HP for a tier 3, very low defensive stats like physical defense, energy defense. She died again. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Listen, she's a great character, don't get me wrong, but she's kind of fragile. I'm not gonna lie about that either. She does have some of the lowest base stats in the game for a tier 3. You can't hide that or sort of deny it. It is something to take into consideration. It's part of the reason why she's a bad tier 3 for PvP, because she just does not have the defensive stats. But here we go. The offensive ability is really what we like to see, and that was not bad. But this is a CTP of energy, and that is the test we're doing right now. But she's a hard character to set up your procs with on a CTP of energy. But I've had a lot of practice with her. I'm a bit surprised that her damage is so low. I thought it was going to be higher with the cold resist down. That was the other advantage that I was going to give to Luna Snow, at least for this test specifically. The fact that her new 4th skill has cold resist down, which is kind of like all defense down, but for cold damage. But no, it doesn't seem to be helping much. She's gonna struggle. I'm surprised that she's struggling on a stage 69 against Corvus like this. I mean, you can't proc very consistently on her other abilities using a regular damage proc, but yeah, I'm surprised that her tier 3 skill is doing so little damage. Yeah, I guess this is not really a contest. There's no way she's going to finish. Let me just try proccing without. Yeah, that's a little bit better, but we basically have to finish this in a minute. I don't think this is happening. It took us a minute and a half to get down less than 2 bars. Yeah, this is basically the rotation. I'm not really doing anything out of the ordinary for Luna. She is kind of a spam fest. She's a spam queen, and you know, there's a couple ways you can approach using her tier 3 skill. It seems like canceling out of it or canceling into other skills doesn't help as much in World Boss as it does in something like Alliance Battle Extreme. And I regularly hit the cap in Alliance Battle Extreme with Luna Snow, if I don't die here, using, well, this one's late. This is a bad proc. I think I ended up procking on 1 or 2, not 6. But there's no chance. There's no chance that with this CTP of energy and this comparison here, she's gonna catch up to Quicksilver. There's no way. Let's try with strikers, because she just ran out of time. Okay, flip the switch. We're going to use Nick Fury's leadership and Wiccan. Wiccan is on the team for 20% ignore dodge, and then we're going to use 2 more ignore dodge strikers to reach that threshold of 100%. And then we brought along Weapon Hex, Scarlet Witch, and Rachel Summers for mind control and all defense down. So maybe it's the stats. Maybe it's the fact that Luna Snow doesn't have a leadership. Maybe, you know, that 50% all attack, because she has a lower base attack stat than Quicksilver. Maybe that is what was holding her back and keeping her sort of, you know, keeping her down. Maybe she just really needs that extra damage here. So we're going to try to just proc on the 6th skill and not cancel anything, not do anything. That seems like it's doing quite a bit more damage, but we're going to have to also see how long it takes Quicksilver to do the same thing, because this is an important comparison. So, you know, this looks nice, but if Quicksilver is going to do the same thing or better, we're kind of in trouble here for old Luna. So we're getting down quite a bit faster. We're going to try and interrupt his sort of phase in the middle as well. We're going to try to give Luna every advantage we can, because, you know, taking advantage of her kit specifically, and the fact that her kit includes Charm on the 4th skill. I think this is a really good proc, because we just hit that Charm. Yeah, it's just the damage is not that high, and you know what? The damage seems lower when you go ahead and you use that ABX combo, where you sort of use the 6th skill with a couple seconds left on the proc, and then you spam 1, 2, and 3. But there are still more tests to do, and we're going to have to wait and see how things pan out for Luna. They're looking better now, but I'm also worried because if they're looking better for her, they're going to look better for him being Quicksilver. So let's see what happens here. We get a larger burst at the beginning, but then it seems like the damage just ends up falling off a cliff. I don't know. It's weird how it works. Like in ABX, the score just racks up 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. But here it absolutely does not rack up. So we're gonna set this up here. Try to get that tier 3 skill with the mind control, with the cooldown. Yeah, it's just like there's a little bit of damage at the beginning, and then it just all tapers off. It's really strange that her damage it doesn't continue. Like the little orbs keep hitting him, but it seems like the damage that the orbs do just does not do anything. That was a tiny bit better, I guess. So it seems like with this team up now, she is pretty close to that comparison of Quicksilver with the 2.5 minutes to get down to, you know, however X many bars. Well, to get the kill, I guess. So yeah, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Let's see how Quicksilver does with this team up. Now, obviously, this team up favors Luna Snow a little bit, but there's really no way to compensate equally and fairly for Quicksilver's insane 50%, you know, ignore dodge. It's just an advantage that he has over other characters, and that's a way for his build to basically accelerate his damage even further. But yeah, with Nick Fury's passive, I expect this to not last very long. We're trying to get some charm here so we can bypass the stage mechanic, but we did not get it, so we're just gonna have to go through it. But yeah, just looking at the numbers, my guess, my uneducated, uninformed guess is that he's going to completely clap Luna Snow. And honestly, I don't know what's going on. I think he just hits a lot harder than Luna Snow does, at least with the CTP of energy. But I don't think that's the case, because I know that their stats are a lot closer when you use a CTP of Rage. So his damage does fall off a little bit here. That tier 3 skill just now was pretty bad. But also this Corvus is being a maniac. I'm not getting any mind control down. Even Rachel has left the building here. Let's see what happens here. We kind of missed that proc, but his tier 3 skill definitely seems to hit harder with you know, with this setup and with the CTP of energy than hers does, than Luna's does. And his rotation is definitely difficult. It's definitely very tight. You need a lot of attack speed. You need to also pay very close attention. And like, I'm constantly tapping the fourth skill, waiting for it to set up. But boom, he just did that 30 seconds faster than she did. It's not a huge difference. It's 30 seconds. It's a lot. This is interesting because it's a lot closer than the last one. The last one, she had about 4 bars left in the comparison when we didn't have any leaderships or buffs. So I think having such low physical energy attack here, 35,000, I think that's part of the reason that's hurting her. It's only 3,000 less, but that might be enough of a difference for Luna, in Luna's case, to make her lag behind severely. It might also be the product of it being a stage 69 world boss and the raid level and the penalty for the recommended valor. You can see it's recommending almost 5,000 valor. But let's do one more test against a much lower stage of Thanos. So now valor shouldn't be an issue because we dropped down to stage 20 Thanos. Because of that, we are how did my proc activate? Wow, okay, so this is mega sketch. But anyways, because we went to such a low stage, we definitely have to augment the team. That's why we don't have strikers. That's why we only have Hyperion and Shuri. You can see the damage is extremely high. We're getting a little bit of weird interactions here with the proc acting funny. But yeah, let's see this damage roll through. We're just going to go down to the first 11 bars of Thanos because we don't want the video to run for that 10,000 years. And also because there will be it'll be a lot harder in the second phase to do things. That also does give, again, Luna Snow a little bit of an advantage because she has the charm and she has the cold damage, cold defense down on her her fourth skill now, which does benefit the first half of the fight against Thanos. So we're gonna have to wait and see what that does. I've also missed quite a few of my procs here, but we're gonna get this down in 1 minute and 7 seconds. So we'll call that 1:05. Let's see what Luna does. We also used Hyperion for this comparison because the 45% all attack is much more beneficial for Luna Snow. Well, not for its. I mean, it's just as beneficial for Quicksilver, but it's also beneficial for Luna Snow because she has that low, you know, those lower base stats. And we're going to wait. Yeah, we're gonna let him go through this little phase here in the middle. And we are going to then just pop the tier 3 skill right away. And then we're going to interrupt it with this here and see what happens. Not bad. And continue. It's a bit frenetic, but pop the tier 3 skill again. She definitely might end up getting more tier 3s off than Quicksilver, but that has more to do with her build than the way I'm playing. Because, well, not her build, like her passive. That is the one advantage to Luna Snow, is that her passive effects allow her to charge up her tier 3 a lot faster than most other characters, and especially Quicksilver. He's got over 12 seconds base cooldown on his skills. That is really slow. But yeah, basically this is exactly the same as all my other tests that we did, and I ran this a few times as well. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Again, I'd call it 1 minute and 5 seconds because of cutscenes and interruptions and stuff like that. So they're basically equal when you drop things down further and you sort of give them equal stats against Thanos. But against Corvus, there's definitely a large benefit to using Quicksilver. If you can't give him a strong team up, he definitely has a huge advantage. If you can equal out the team up in terms of giving a large leadership, like, you know, all attack, and you can manage to make up for the fact that she's, you know, 60%. She needs 60% more ignore dodge for Corvus, whereas Quicksilver only needs about 23%. That's a pretty big difference, but otherwise, it seems to be either equal or advantage Quicksilver. So I want to do more testing. Let me know if you guys want to see more testing. I can also unequip the CTP of Energy and give them CTPs of Rage, so that's also something that we can do if you guys think that there's another interesting comparison there or not. But hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, who you think is better. And thank you so much for watching the video, and like it if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.